they discovered in the inventory of James IV that there was one tapestry of 100 tapestries that portrayed the unicorn. And so that gives me an idea of trying to find out if you could acquire unicorn tapestries. Well, they might have done so, but they'd be rather dull, I suppose. So instead of which, they go to the one place which has the greatest 5 tapestries of the unicorn series, and it hangs on the cloisters, part of the Metropolitan Museum in New York. These were 1590 Blois tapestries, which were wonderfully restored and hung, and they're probably the apex of the tapestry style weaving tradition. But unfortunately, they were too big for Stirling Castle. So they had the idea of doing repro woven tapestries at about $1.5 million each, at 10% smaller scale, at 10 threads instead of 100 threads per inch, in bright chemical colors instead of natural colors, because they'd be very bright. And so they've done these now. So this is half up. It's been paid by an American charity. You could have got the same tapestries or similar tapestries of the real period for a tenth of that, apparently. But of course, they're a great tourist draw. They've done the same at Edinburgh Castle, which is Madame Tussauds now. Now, all this would be acceptable in a theme park, but not in a genuine place. You may accept the idea that after the 45, the stunning Great Hall was made into barracks and 4 stories to replace the hammer beam roof. Might be acceptable, but we don't know what it looked like. So it now looks like the one in Edinburgh at the Parliament House. That's one thing. They've hung it with Laura Ashley drapes and so on. That's be very, very strange. It could be a contemporary art gallery. If it was in Poland, it might well be that. But why fudge history? Why not know who you are in history? There's plenty of examples of people like Carlo Scarpa in the Palazzo Abatellis in Palermo who put in new work into all, so you always know where you are. But this kind of bogus history. So I just want to show a few clips of that. First of all, not to blame, sorry, Scotland, the national monuments. They built from the stones, from rubble upwards, a kitchen, medieval kitchen, and they filled it. It's not really Renaissance, really. They filled it with mannequins serving slabs of beef and everything. So you actually first we'll start this now. We'll see this kitchen, which is the lead-in, with these guys bringing through the carcasses. And these walls were completely fabricated. It's harmless, really, but I feel it's not proper for a genuine place. But now we're going to come on to the tapestries. This is the unicorn tapestry from the Metropolitan, and that's what's now been woven at full scale, at 10th scale, rather. And you can actually go and visit them doing that. It's a firm from Kent. It's not the Dovecot tapestry from Scotland. That's one of the completed tapestries. Look at 5 more. So just hold it there. Many years before, when Monty Python ruled the land, Terry Jones and Terry Gilliam came up to Scotland, and with the then equivalent of Scotland, the National Monuments, Antiquities, chose 5 or 6 Scottish castles in order to do Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Well, 2 weeks before filming, they got a letter saying they'd read the script and took against it and said this was not appropriate for the dignity of these buildings, what they proposed. So Terry Jones wrote back and said, dignity of the building, what? Buildings were put up for torture, for murder, for rape, pillage, and you can't do a bit of comedy? Unbelievable. So they rapidly came up to Scotland to look for some more. Fortunately, the Earl of Perth, his son had just inherited, the son of the Earl of Perth had just inherited Doune Castle. So he gave Doune Castle, and they were able to move around the castle to create a series of other castles. So let's start that. There's a slide on that to show you what Doune Castle, which is also an invented castle. It was restored in 1830, but it's the most intact 15th century castle I think we've got in Scotland. So that's where they made the scenes, and now this is the extraordinary thing. They sell, Scotland, mementos like this, which, with this idea of, brood over burning witches, they actually codifying misogyny. And they also have witch trials in some of these castles in Aberdare, for instance. It's extraordinary. The interesting thing is they also import, the Historic Scotland have also imported something like 10,000 coconut shells and various other props. So people can dress up as Monty Python now and hurl insults at each other, say, you know, I fart elderberries at you and so on, all that, and I'm the Knights of Nin. So dignities by Sorry Scotland have been restored to Doon Castle. But I want to finish up. Now, what am I going to finish up with? That's really. I was going to show the Straw Lurker, but I think it's not appropriate. It's just a film that couldn't be made today. George Wiley, I think, is a great artist, but he's not represented in any national collection. But I think he deals with humour, and if you deal with humour in Scotland, people enjoy it. But art historians somehow don't have a sense of humour, and therefore you can't be serious. But I think the Straw Locomotive, the Paper Boat, these are just wonderful public sculptures. And I just love every time I go up to the top of Buchanan Street and see the time running out, which I've now had. So, okay, thank you very much.